Okay, Bannock County Commissioners are in session. We do have one amendment. 10:45, we have a bid opening, detention high back. So, a motion to approve with the amendment.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the agenda as amended.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Chantel?
Yeah, Chantel Lutwood with Indigent Services. The case that I have before you this morning is case number 2024-0028. It's an application for cremation expenses through Davis Rose Mortuary in the amount of $1,200. The applicant is a 54-year-old male who's applying for cremation expenses for his 73-year-old father. The deceased is a Bannock County resident, was not a veteran. With all of the information that I did obtain, it does appear that the deceased and the applicant do meet criteria to be eligible for assistance through the indigent program. And the applicant has agreed to a $25 a month repayment plan upon approval of this application.
Okay. Any questions? Motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the application number 202-40028.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Yeah. Welcome.
Morning. Matthew Phillips, Human Resources and Risk Management Director. Have a few things on the agenda that we wanted to get before the commissioners, make them aware. The first one we can talk about a little bit before I think we go into executive session because we'll be speaking about specific personnel.
Okay.
So if you turn in your packets, there's this overview sheet, but actually if you go to the next page, it'll just give an overview of a new rule that's being put into effect July 1st under the Fair Labor Standards Act. Just as background, Fair Labor Standards Act is one of our oldest labor laws in the United States of America, dealing with child labor regulations, overtime protections, and minimum wage. So new rulemaking is going to affect, if you look just in the top of this table right here, the top line, for someone to be exempt, and by exempt I mean exempt from overtime, in addition to meeting certain duties tests, they will also be required to be paid a minimum salary moving forward on July. And they always have been, but the amounts are increasing substantially. So on July 1st of this year, it'll be increasing from $35,568 annually to $43,888. And then on January 1st of 2025, which is just 6 months away, that minimum threshold will be increasing to $58,656. Which is a rather large jump. If you want to go back to the summary here, I typed up for you.
That's the previous page?
Yeah, the previous page. So that first point, it just basically states that, or these first 3 points just walk you through how those minimums are going to increase. That's essentially going to be a 65% increase of the minimum salary pardon me, required for all exempt employees. So the other part of that the Commission should probably be aware of is the Department of Labor, beginning in 2027, will reevaluate that minimum, and thereafter every 3 years. So this is something that we're going to have to be aware of moving forward. In point 5 here, we did an audit of all 54 exempt Bannock County employees in the week of June 9th, and fortunately we only found one that this will affect this year. However, I think we need to be aware that moving forward, it really could start to affect several of our salaried employees. And so if we're having a compensation committee, which I understand we do, we should really focus in the years preceding the Department of Labor updated rules, whether we're going to run into those salary minimums. So in 2026, the County Compensation Committee should really be looking at not just, the market competitiveness, but also the regulated salary minimums required by the Department of Labor. In 2026, 2029, the year before those increases come into play.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure,
here?
absolutely.
So you said one employee this year, you mean in this July? I think it's July when the first switch comes?
It would actually be a January 1st.
I thought this thing said in 2024.
There's two increases.
There's two increases.
There's one in
They're-
July of 2024, right?
Yeah, the one in July of 2024 is
How
soon
many does
upon
that
us,
affect?
and that will increase it to 44,000. And then 6 months later,
Right.
because I think they're just doing it as a phased implementation, basically to give employers an opportunity to have time to implement it. January 1st, 2025, here in about 6 months, it's going to increase again, and that will be a much larger increase up to the 58,000 level.
How many employees does the July increase affect?
It does not affect any
In
currently.
January, it only affects one?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And
And
that-
s-
That is on the radar, so once we figure out the budgets and the salary increases, we'll know if that will still affect that employee or not.
yeah.
It has been requested to give that person a raise.
Okay.
Well, and if you want, we can go into executive session, discuss who that is. It's
We
one
talked
of-
a little bit about it yesterday.
Okay, it's one of Kyle's. Okay, so
Yeah,
if you're aware
yeah.
of it, just adjusting him to a higher grade level will affect him, but just be aware moving forward, it could affect a lot more salaried individuals. So this, and then I just did a comparison of the other option we would have if we didn't change them to a level increase would to be changing them back to non-exempt. But as you look down here in option B, that's usually, even just with 5 hours of overtime a week, that's much more expensive typically. So just want to make the commissioners aware of this rule that will be nipping at our heels and now and in the future.
Pretty interesting.
Okay, any questions or?
No, it's just interesting to me that the state sets a minimum wage. And now the federal government's telling us we don't have a choice either.
Yeah, yeah, they're becoming more involved in that area.
I guess on the second page, was the
Sure.
second page, it talked about, I don't know, when I was reading through here, employees, or jobs, the very last page. The threshold doesn't apply to these employees. Doctors, lawyers, teachers, and outside sales employees. I mean-
There's 3 tests to be exempt, and so there's a professional category, and that might be part of what
Yeah,
that's changing.
those are typically more in the professional.
Yeah.
Well, that's just good to know when we talk to prosecutors.
Okay, very good. Very good. Okay, any other questions on that issue? Okay. The next issue, we will be talking extensively about one employee, so I think it's probably best we move into executive session if it's okay.
Okay. You wanna go into executive?
Okay, let me get my glasses on.
I mean, if you like, we can discuss this first statute before you, but it's really gonna need an explanation of kind of what happened with the employee.
No, let's,
Where's the code here?
right here.
So
No,
it's-
that's Idaho statute, right
Here
here.
it is, right here, okay. Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move that we move into executive session under Idaho Code 74